The crystalline dome of Arena Centauri hummed with anticipation as thousands of alien spectators filled the tiered seats. Chittering insectoids from the hive worlds rubbed their mandibles together in excitement, while the towering Vorthan warriors beat their forearms against their armored chests in rhythmic approval. In the VIP section, Ambassador Crix of the Galactic Combat Federation adjusted his translator implant and sneered at the human delegation below. Earth's final champion, Crix announced, his voice amplifying through the arena's neural broadcast system. How quaint. The laughter that erupted was deafening. For 3 standard cycles, Earth's warriors had been systematically demolished in the arena. Their martial arts had proven laughably primitive against opponents who could bend reality with their minds, manipulate gravity with a thought, or phase through solid matter at will. The hulking Gorvok champion had crushed Earth's boxer with telekinetic force. The ethereal Whisperborn had rendered their fencer's blade useless by existing in 7 dimensions simultaneously. Now, as the arena floor shimmered and transformed into a multi-leveled maze of floating platforms and gravitational anomalies, Earth's final representative emerged from the Challenger's gate. Commander Zeftul of the Andromedan Strike Corps nearly choked on his biofluid as he watched through his tactical visor. That's their champion. A human wrapped in black cloth. The figure that stepped onto the arena floor moved with an unusual stillness that seemed to absorb sound itself. No flashy energy weapons, no visible cybernetic enhancements, no psionic aura crackling around their form. Just a human in traditional black garb, face hidden behind a cloth mask, carrying what appeared to be simple metal implements. Captain Veltar, the reigning arena champion from the Siege Worlds, materialized on the opposite platform in a burst of plasma energy. His exoskeleton gleamed with integrated weaponry, and reality bent around him as his probability manipulation fields came online. He had never lost a match. "I will make this quick, little Earth thing," Veltar's voice boomed through his vocal amplifiers. "Your species has embarrassed itself enough." The human said nothing. Didn't even seem to acknowledge the taunt. The starting horn sounded. Veltar immediately activated his quantum displacement cannon, firing a beam that should have scattered the human's atoms across 3 star systems. But the black-clad figure was no longer there. The crowd gasped as they realized the human hadn't teleported or phased, they had simply moved, faster than most optical sensors could track, rolling beneath the platform and scaling its underside with movements that seemed to defy the arena's artificial gravity. "Impossible," whispered General Hackmore of the Titan Legions. "No unenhanced being can move like that." Veltar spun, his probability fields calculating the human's trajectory, only to find empty air. A whisper of displaced atmosphere was the only warning before a small metal star embedded itself in his weapon array, shorting out his primary systems with surgical precision. Another appeared in his joint servos. Then another in his optical cluster. The arena fell silent except for the soft whistle of more projectiles cutting through air. Veltar, increasingly desperate, began firing wildly with his remaining weapons, each shot perfectly predicted and avoided by movements that seemed choreographed by physics itself. Then the human was behind him, having somehow traversed 40 meters of open space without being seen. A simple touch to the base of Veltar's neck, and the mighty champion crumpled, his neural interfaces overloaded by pressure applied to biometric points his species had forgotten existed. The silence stretched for a full 30 seconds before erupting into chaos. Ambassador Crix's translator was sparking as it tried to process the flood of exclamations in a dozen languages. How is this possible? Their technology readings show nothing. No enhancement, no energy weapons, no psionic signature. Dr. Sarah Chen, Earth's chief xenobiologist, smiled quietly in the human delegation section. She had tried to warn them. While the galaxy had spent millennia developing technology to transcend physical limitations, humanity had spent the same time perfecting the art of working within them. Their ninja had trained since childhood not to overcome the laws of physics, but to find the spaces between them where true mastery lived. On the arena floor, more champions stepped forward. The metamorphic Fluxborn who could alter their molecular structure. The time-dilating Chronarch warriors. The living energy beings from the plasma nebulae. One by one, they fell to techniques that had no names in galactic databases, defeated by an opponent who treated the arena not as a battleground, but as a dance partner. The human never spoke, never boasted, never even removed their mask. They simply moved through each challenge like water finding the inevitable path through stone, turning the opponent's overwhelming power against itself with redirections so subtle they appeared to be coincidence. As the final challenger collapsed, the arena's silence was absolute. The ninja stood in the center of the maze, breathing steadily, hands folded in a gesture of respect toward their fallen opponents. Ambassador Crix's voice was barely a whisper when he finally spoke. What do you call this fighting style? Dr. Chen stood, her voice carrying clearly in the stunned quiet. We call it ninjutsu. But perhaps you might better understand it as the art of winning without fighting, of being present by becoming invisible, of achieving the impossible by accepting what is possible. She paused, watching as medical teams tended to the defeated champions, all alive, all uninjured save for their wounded pride. Your warriors sought to transcend the physical world. Ours learned to perfect their place within it. Perhaps, she said, looking directly at the ninja who offered a subtle bow to the crowd, it's time your federation learned the difference between power and mastery. As the human warrior disappeared back into the shadows from which they had emerged, the Galactic Combat Federation faced a troubling realization. They had just witnessed a master class in warfare from what they had considered the least advanced species in known space. And they were no longer laughing.